Hello, welcome to another video with Joseph Manifesting. Today's video is going to be on manifesting a specific person. I know a lot of people have been really wanting this video, so here it is. Now, this is going to be the first time that I manifested my wife. I've done it twice now, and the second time was more flow-based. However, the first time was way more obsessive. However, it still did work. Before I go into this, you absolutely can manifest your specific person. As Neville says, to desire is to have. Anything that you can imagine, you can manifest. I share that because a lot of people will say it's messing with free will or it's manipulation. It is completely incorrect. There is only consciousness. Consciousness is all that there is. The illusion of separation is done by the ego. It doesn't exist. The ego doesn't exist. It's an illusion. You absolutely can manifest your specific person. In fact, if you have the desire, it means that you are meant to. With that out of the way, please like and subscribe. All of my videos are on Neville and inner work development. I have many videos already on the channel on the wish fulfilled, the feeling, inner conversations, releasing limited beliefs, etc. And if you are interested on one-on-one coaching, please send me an email and I will be happy to schedule a time that works for both of us. Manifesting my wife the first time. I just read my journal. I've been very big into journaling. And I journaled what was happening up until the actual separation. About 2 months before we separated, I was continuously writing how there was problems, how my wife wasn't acting the way that I thought that she should, how she was doing things that were unloving, how she was becoming distant from me, how she was an avoidant attachment and I was an anxiety attachment. All of these assumptions. Now, an assumption must become an outside fact. That's the way that it works. Since I am the cause, you are the cause. This was all done unconsciously, of course. No one consciously manifests things they don't desire. However, it was still my assumption. So I was imagining continuously my wife was doing this, she was doing this, we're fighting all the time, there's these problems, she's being distant. Lo and behold, outside she reflected that and continued to reflect it, until finally, on December 3rd, we had our last fight and she came out of my life. I tried the 3D thing. I tried talking with her, taking accountability, apologizing, looking at the pickup artist and all this other stuff of how to, no contact and all this different stuff. And none of it ended up working. The first step that I highly suggest before you go into this manifesting journey, especially if you just went through the separation in 3D, is take time to feel your emotions, to experience your emotions, to process things. It's a very hard thing to go through. I was depressed, I was sad, I was even suicidal to a degree. My whole world felt like it was crashing down. I was having these continuous thought patterns that were very painful. So I gave myself about a week or two of where I just worked on me. I got myself right. I went to the gym. I started eating better. I made sure I was sleeping. I did cold plunges. I really love cold plunges, ice baths. I got myself a nice wardrobe, got a haircut, cleaned myself up, did things to kind of get myself right and center myself, figure things out before I proceeded. Once I did that, the second step was, is this person actually somebody that my heart desires, or is it somebody that my ego desires? Now, you can manifest either way, because ultimately you are the cause, you are God of your reality. However, I am big on manifesting things that are in harmony with your heart's desire. So for me, I took a break to write down, is this somebody who benefited my life? Is it somebody who helped me become a better version of me? Is it somebody who is in the same type of things I am? Is she into manifesting? Is she into evolving and becoming a better person? Is she about her outer purpose as well as her inner purpose of spiritual growth? For me, the answer was yes. And I think this is a very important step, because here's the thing. A lot of people I've worked with are teeter-tottering. oh, I want this person, or oh, I want this person, or oh, I want this person. And it seems it's more of a, they just want somebody that approves or validates them more than it's somebody that they truly desire to live this outside world with. And again, you can manifest either way. However, for me, I wanted to make sure this was my actual person. I wasn't doing it just because my ego was hurt or it felt void or it wanted to get her back so I could say, so it could feel complete again. Once I decided that this was my actual person, the first thing I did was I took accountability. I looked at my journal and I realized I caused this. And the point of this isn't shame or condemnation. The point of this is for me to take accountability and ownership. If I cause something that's undesirable, I can cause something that is desirable. So once I took accountability, then I ended up revising. I revised all the fighting. I revised the big circumstances that I saw her unlovingly, or times where I felt like she didn't love me. I revised these situations and I saw them going ideal. For a couple of them, I only needed to revise it a couple of times to where I felt like that's how it actually went. For many other of the ones, especially our last fight, I had to revise it close to 50 times. The next thing I did, again, this was the first time that I ended up manifesting my wife, and it was way more control and force based than it was flow based. But I did affirmations pretty much from the moment that I woke up until I went to bed. I was affirming all the time. I am loved by my wife. My wife is so into me. She's obsessed with me. Different things like this. And the most important part I remember about the affirmation was believing that it was true now. Believing as though that's actually how it is now. For about a month, I did this, and then she contacted me. We ended up going on a date at the hookah lounge. We had a really good time. And a lot of what I visualized ended up happening. She was all over me. She was kissing me. She was giving me affirmations. And all my affirmations were accurate. I understood the point now of why Neville talked about living in the end, is because my wife kissing me or my wife taking the ring back, my wife hanging out with me does not imply that we are together. It implies that she's attracted to me and that we're hanging out on the date. After that date, we ended up not talking again for close to a month and a half before finally the manifestation happened. But I realized from that point, that's the importance of living in the end. I must see only the end. So I started visualizing my wife living with me again. I started seeing her clothes in the closet. I even went through her drawer and pulled some items out of there and felt them. And I felt the gratitude and the love for life. I felt the appreciation that I had this experience. It filled my consciousness. It seemed so real. I was bawling of appreciation. And then I'd wake up from my prayer and I'd be back to the 3D. But I realized that it didn't matter because I knew that from experience that all of my affirmations cause my reality. I seen it when I manifested small things with like people or my brother, my grandma saying something. I wanted a massage one time and my dad was in the kitchen and I visualized him giving me a massage and he did. So I knew from small little things that I was the cause. And I just decided there is no other option. I am manifesting my wife. We are happily married and we live together. I had no proof of this. She wasn't talking to me. I didn't have her on any social media. The last conversation we had was nice. However, it didn't end up going past there. I knew we were together. There was no other option. Neville always talks about to test the law. And so every opportunity I got, I was affirming. I was feeling like I was loved by my wife. I was feeling like we were happily married. I would imagine coming home and her cooking. I would imagine her jumping on me and excited to see me. I would imagine her clothes in our closet. I would imagine her laying next to me and tell me how much she loves me. I would imagine her telling me she loves being with me. And I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I fell asleep in it. I was affirming so much that I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would be like, my brain would be doing its thing, and it would be my affirmations. I was affirming all day long from the moment I went up till I went to sleep. And I persisted and I persisted. And honestly, I went on the Reddit. People say, hey, don't read Reddit, don't do this, whatever, because it's implying you don't believe. I went on Reddit. I went on Reddit a lot. I needed that faith sometimes. I was feeling insecure. I was unsure. I wasn't seeing movement. And this was the first time that I manifested my wife. So there was some uncertainty. But I persevered and I persevered and I persevered. And night after night, I fell asleep, feeling her clothes and seeing her clothes in there, feeling the love and the appreciation. And then one day, I felt inspired to go see my son. And I always miss my son. I always want to see him. However, this time there was like this burning desire to go. So I go over there and I'm hanging out with my son. And my wife ends up sending me texts and like, why didn't you see me? And do you not even care about me anymore? Randomly. A bridge of incidences occurred. She ended up moving in. All of her clothes were in my closet. She laid next to me. Everything that I imagined ended up happening. All my affirmations ended up happening. Everything ended up happening. So what I want to share again in wrapping this up was, first thing I did was I processed my emotions. Throughout the journey of this, it was an emotional roller coaster. I got so many notebook entries of the sadness and the fear and the worry, and she was some different thoughts that kept coming up. And I kept just saying, you know what, it's all bridge of incidences. Everything is working out for me. Everything is lovingly rearranging itself. My wife loves me so much. This is just all old information that's being processed. And I affirmed, and any chance I was in my truck and I was driving and I started feeling crappy, I would read my affirmation list that I wrote down on my journal, or I wrote down on my phone. If I was feeling crappy, I would imagine that she sent me a text saying I'm the best husband in the world and she loves living with me. If I was starting to feel crappy, I would meditate and I would observe any thought patterns or any emotions that came up. I would detach myself. Instead of being the story, I would be the observer of the story. Now, I don't suggest affirming or visualizing whenever you're feeling emotions. What I suggest doing is observing the emotions. There's sadness come up, allow it. Watch it happening. There's thought patterns come up. Watch them. Let them flow by without giving them any meaning. Because again, remember, you are the consciousness, you are the observing presence, you are I am. Your thoughts and your emotions are simply just thoughts and emotions that happen within the body and the mind. They are not you, and they have no power unless you fear them, resist them, worry about them, try to avoid them. Then they're powerful because now they were given meaning. When you simply allow yourself to observe, oh man, I have these certain thought patterns. Oh man, I have these certain emotions that keep popping up. Well, then you realize there's an unconscious pattern that's happening within you, and you're the observer of them. You are what's watching this happen within you. Manifestation journey can be discouraging. It can be challenging. Stay persistent. Stay affirming. Stay visualizing. Revise any unloving things that you can remember that happened. But know that your affirmations are causative now. The 4D creates, the 3D shows what was created in secret. And here's the last thing I will end with. What you affirm today, you will experience tomorrow. You will experience in a week. You will experience in a month. So you may think, well, what I'm saying to myself is reflecting what I'm saying, showing outside. What is showing outside is a result of what you said to yourself a week ago, and now you have the manifestation of it. So if you want outside change, your inner conviction, your inner conversations must change. And you may not see proof today or tomorrow or in a month, but the law is if your inner conversations change, your outside must change as well. So remind yourself that when you're in the inner talk that's unideal, or you're overthinking, emotional turmoil, remind yourself that your inner talk today changes your tomorrow. Inner talking, inner assumptions have to change in order for me to change my outside experience. I hope today's video was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe. My next video will be on how I manifested my wife the second time, and also why it was even necessary for me to manifest my wife the second time. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.